When I saw his post, my stomach dropped before my mind even caught up. Real women don't feel threatened by my ex. It wasn't tagged, but everyone knew. Miles had written it for me. The caption was full of hashtags, hashtag emotional maturity, hashtag secure love, hashtag grown relationships, all those buzzwords people use to sound wise while being cruel. And the comments brutal. Friends, mutuals, even strangers chiming in with preach and insecure girls could never. It felt like being slapped in public and told to smile through it. 3 months earlier, things had been perfect, or so I thought. My name is Rosie Sanders. I'm 28, and I've never been good at playing the chill girlfriend. I love deeply notice too much and feel everything twice as hard. When I met Miles, he made me feel seen. The kind of attention that feels like sunlight, warm, steady, intoxicating. He was gentle, attentive, a little self-righteous in the way men who read psychology blogs tend to be. Then came Alina, his ex, his best friend, his emotional confidant. The first time I met her, she showed up at the same cafe where Miles and I had our Sunday brunch. Total coincidence, he said, waving her over. She looked me up and down with a smile that never reached her eyes. Oh, so this is Rosie. Miles told me you're a minimalist. That's so brave. I remember blinking confused. I wasn't a minimalist. I was just wearing beige. They spent the next 20 minutes laughing about old inside jokes, trips they took, restaurants they loved. I sat there like furniture nodding, invisible, the space between them thick with nostalgia. When we left, I said quietly, that was weird. He squeezed my hand. You're overthinking. Alina and I just have history. That's all. History. He said it like a virtue. But coincidences piled up like puzzle pieces that didn't want to stay hidden. Alina showed up at his gym, then at his best friend's birthday dinner, then at the same concert we'd bought tickets for weeks before. Every time the same tone. Wow, what are the odds? The odds apparently were 100%. When I told Miles I was uncomfortable, he laughed. You sound jealous. You need to trust me. I do trust you, I said, voice cracking. It's her I don't trust. He sighed, long, patient, condescending. That's not emotional maturity, Rosie. Real women don't see their partner's past as competition. The words lodged deep like splinters. Real women. Meaning what I wasn't one. Then came the night everything tipped. We were hosting a small dinner at my apartment. 5 friends, candles, wine, a playlist we'd made together. When the doorbell rang, I opened it expecting Maya, my college friend. It was Alina. Smiling, holding dessert. Miles invited me. Said it'd be fun. Fun. She took my seat before I even had time to process. The entire evening turned into an improv act, starring Miles and Alina's shared memories. Remember when we stories laughter that filled every quiet space between them. At one point, Miles reached for the wine bottle, brushing her hand. She didn't move. Neither did he. When everyone left, I stood at the sink washing dishes just to keep from screaming. He leaned against the counter, arms folded. You've been quiet. You invited your ex to my dinner. She's part of the group. You're overreacting. I told you this makes me uncomfortable. Rosie, he said softly, the way people talk to children. You can't control who I'm friends with. That's insecurity, not love. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, replaying every laugh, every touch, every time he used the word mature like a shield. In the morning, while brushing my teeth, I saw the notification pop up on my phone. Miles Sanders posted a photo. The caption burned into my chest. Real women don't feel threatened by my ex. It wasn't just a statement, it was a verdict. I didn't comment, didn't call. Instead, I took a screenshot. Then another. Then one of the comments where Alina had written, exactly. Love seeing grown people handle things with grace. My fingers trembled, but my heart was steady. Grace, she said. I looked at their smiling faces in the profile picture, 2 people convinced they were teaching the world about maturity while standing on my self-worth. And I made a decision. If Miles wanted to play the public game of perception, I'd play the quiet game of truth. That afternoon, I texted Alina. Hey, I'm planning a surprise for Miles' birthday. Would love to get your help, you know him best. Her response came fast. Yes, let's grab coffee tomorrow. I smiled bitter and calm all at once. Because sometimes the only way to expose someone's game is to sit down and play it better. The next morning, I stood outside a cafe I'd never been to before. Alina's suggestion, of course. A place with gold-rimmed mugs and an art wall for content. I arrived 10 minutes early just to study her entrance. She was punctual, of course, the kind of woman who walks like the world's watching, chin-up sunglasses, oversized phone, always in hand. When she saw me, she smiled wide. Rosie, you're even prettier in person. Miles has a type. The compliment stung in all the ways it was meant to. We ordered lattes. She insisted on paying. It's on me. Miles always said I was bad with money. Time to prove him wrong, right? Her tone was light playful, but her eyes flickered, gauging my reactions. I gave her nothing, just a polite smile. I appreciate it. We talked for 20 minutes about Miles's favorite music, his upcoming birthday, the kind of gifts he liked. I let her ramble stories of trips they'd taken, songs they'd danced to, jokes they still shared. Her words were laced with nostalgia, but her voice was smug. She thought I was seeking approval. She thought she was still relevant. "So what are you thinking of getting him?" she asked, stirring her drink with a gold spoon. "Something meaningful," I said. "But I want your advice. You know him so well." Her smile bloomed victorious. "Well, he's not into material things. He likes experiences. You should plan something intimate like we used to do. He loves surprises." She paused, pretending to hesitate. "You know, he told me he missed having someone who understood his moods. It takes patience to love Miles." I nodded slowly. Patience, right. She sipped, satisfied, unaware that every word was stitching her into her own web. Then she slipped small but sharp. "Oh, last night he texted me about that big project you mentioned. He was so stressed I told him to meditate. Remember how I used to get him into that?" My stomach tightened. Last night I asked. "Yeah, around midnight. Poor guy never sleeps." I forced a smile. "That's sweet of you to check on him." She laughed. "Old habits die hard, right? We just get each other." She looked at me, daring me to react. But I didn't blink. Inside, my pulse was electric. Midnight texts, emotional support, still checking in. He'd sworn they barely talked, that they were casual friends. As Alina reached for her phone, the screen lit up. I caught a glimpse. Miles's name. A heart emoji beside it. It was a tiny thing, a symbol most people would miss. But it screamed. I felt my lips curve upward, the faintest, calmest smile. "Rosie," she said, catching me looking. "Don't overthink that. He just sent me a meme." "Oh, I'm not overthinking anything," I said softly. "I'm listening." We left the cafe with the illusion of friendship. She hugged me goodbye, too long, too performative, and said, "You're so mature. Most girls get threatened by exes, but you're different." I smiled again. "You'd be surprised what I can handle." As she turned the corner, I opened my notes app and typed everything she'd said, every timestamp, every little phrase that felt rehearsed. Then I opened another app recorder. If Miles wanted honesty, I'd give him evidence. That night I acted normal. Cooked dinner. Watched a movie. He didn't notice I was quieter than usual. When his phone buzzed during the movie, he glanced at it, then set it face down. "What's wrong?" I asked casually. "Just work." At midnight, he hesitated. "Client in a different time zone." I nodded. "Right." He turned to look at me, suspicious. "Why are you being weird?" "I'm not." "You're giving me that look." "I just like watching people lie," I said. He froze for a second, then laughed it off. "You're so dramatic." "Maybe," I said, "or maybe I'm just patient." When he fell asleep, I went to the kitchen and scrolled through the screenshots Alina had sent me, photos from their friendship. Selfies. Concerts. A picture of him asleep on her couch, dated a week before he and I became official. Then the texts. Late nights. Heart emojis. Inside jokes that never ended. She'd sent them to me so casually, thinking I was building him a surprise gift list. But I was building something else entirely. As I looked at my reflection in the dark kitchen window, I barely recognized myself. Gone was the quiet, apologetic girlfriend. Gone was the woman who begged to be trusted. What remained was stillness, cold, deliberate clarity. I whispered to my reflection, "Let's see how mature they both are when the truth shows up uninvited." And for the first time in months, I slept peacefully. Because tomorrow I wasn't going to wait for answers. I was going to make them confess. By morning, I had everything. Screenshots, timestamps, message previews, all the quiet things people say when they think they're getting away with it. I didn't rush. I made coffee, opened my laptop, organized every image into folders labeled before me, during me, and after me. The last one was the longest. There's a strange peace in preparing evidence. It makes heartbreak feel like a project you can finally finish. Miles stumbled out of bed around 10, hair messy, eyes half closed. He kissed the top of my head. "Morning, love. Why are you up so early?" I turned the laptop toward him. The screen glowed with the screenshots of his messages with Alina. The most recent one was dated 2 nights ago. "Wish we could talk like we used to. You always got me." He froze, then blinked as if waiting for me to explain his own words. "Care to tell me," I said, voice calm, "why your mature friendship looks like this?" He rubbed his temple. "Rosie, you went through my phone." "I didn't have to. She sent them to me." "Alina." "Yes. She thought she was helping me plan your birthday." For a moment silence, then his expression hardened. "You set me up. I gave you rope, I said softly. You decided what to do with it. He sighed, trying to smile. You're overreacting. We just talk sometimes. It's harmless. Harmless, I gestured toward the screen. You said you missed her. You called her at midnight. He crossed his arms. Because she understands me. We've known each other for years. You can't expect me to erase that. I laughed quietly, a sound that surprised even me. Erase her. Miles, you never stopped writing her name. He frowned. You're being insecure again. That's exactly what I mean. This obsession with control. Control, I cut in. No, I'm asking for respect. You confuse boundaries with control because you've never had to earn either. He rolled his eyes, muttering, This is exactly why I can't talk to you about anything. Then talk to her, I said. You already are. He grabbed his phone, scrolling fast. You took things out of context. I tilted my head, then explained the context of, I miss how you used to calm me down after fights. She texted first. So you replied, you still do. His jaw tightened. Rosie, I love you. You're twisting things. I stood up. No, Miles, I'm reading them. The air in the room grew thick. He looked at me the way people look at broken mirrors, too afraid to touch what they've cracked. For the next 2 days, we didn't speak. He slept on the couch. I stayed in the bedroom. But silence isn't always peace. Sometimes it's just the sound of people pretending not to leave. Then he posted again. A black background with white text. Some people love drama more than they love truth. #toxic energy, #boundaries. Within an hour, Alina liked it, then commented, Always here for you, friend. Stay strong. And that word friend made my blood boil. Because only someone who still wanted ownership could call what they were doing friendship. That night, my phone buzzed. A message from Maya, my coworker. Girl, you need to see this. Attached was a screenshot of a private group chat. Alina was in it bragging. He'll come back eventually. He always does. Poor Rosie's so desperate to keep him. I almost feel bad. Almost. My chest tightened, not from heartbreak, but from clarity. They weren't just betraying me. They were mocking me. I typed a message to Maya. Don't reply to her. Just send me everything. When I had it all, I stared at the screen for a long time. People talk about rage, like fire, loud, visible, consuming. But real rage, it's quiet, surgical, cold enough to plan. Later that night, Miles came into the room. I don't like this distance between us, he said, voice soft. We can fix this. Fix what? This misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding, I said. You crossed a line. I just finally stopped pretending not to see it. He took a step closer. Don't throw us away over some screenshots. Screenshots don't lie, I said. People do. He exhaled sharply. You really think you're perfect, don't you? You love feeling righteous. No, I said. I just love truth more than image. You love the opposite. He shook his head. You're impossible. Funny, I said. Alina used to say the same about you. When he left for a walk, I knew exactly where he was going, and I knew what I had to do next. The screenshot folder was ready. The captions already written. But I didn't want revenge, not really. I wanted revelation. I wanted them both to see what their emotional maturity looked like under sunlight. So I uploaded the proof, not on my main account, on an anonymous one. A single post. When friendship looks like this, what do you call it? Asking for a girl who's done pretending. Attached 4 screenshots, just enough. Within minutes, people noticed. Comments poured in. The story spread through mutual friends, then group chats. Miles's carefully built image of the evolved boyfriend cracked wide open. That night, Alina texted me from an unknown number. Wow, that was low, Rosie. You didn't have to humiliate him. I replied. He humiliated himself. I just stopped covering for him. You're bitter. No, I'm awake. Then I blocked her. And for the first time, I realized something simple. You can't fight for someone who's already busy proving you wrong. As I lay in bed, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Maya. It's spreading. Everyone's talking. They're deleting their posts. I closed my eyes. Not out of guilt, out of relief. Because I finally understood. Some people can't handle being exposed, not because they're innocent, but because they finally have to meet themselves in public. By the next morning, the world had turned beautifully quiet. No good morning texts, no how's your day check-ins. Just silence, heavy, awkward silence that tasted like truth finally winning. But silence doesn't last long with people like Miles. He showed up at my apartment that evening. No warning, no flowers, just a tired face and a wounded ego. You went too far, he said the moment I opened the door. Did I? You humiliated me online. I didn't post your name, Miles. If people recognized you, maybe that says something about your reputation. He ran a hand through his hair. You're being vindictive. And you're being hypocritical, I said, stepping aside. Come in. We might as well end this properly. He hesitated, then entered pacing like a lawyer preparing his defense. You could have just talked to me. I tried, I said. For weeks. I told you Alina and I are just friends. And I told you I said that friends don't text each other at 2 a.m. about how they miss the good old days. His jaw clenched. You don't understand. We were part of each other's lives for years. It's hard to just cut that off. So instead you let it bleed into mine. He sighed and sat on the couch, rubbing his eyes. You think I wanted this drama? I studied him quietly. His exhaustion was real, but so was mine. I'd spent months being made to feel small so he could feel righteous. Something in me hardened. Let's make a deal, I said softly. No more pretending. I'll show you what it feels like to be in my position for one day. He frowned. What's that supposed to mean? You'll see. 2 nights later, I left my phone unlocked. On the counter screen, bright, a message preview showing Ethan. Last night was complicated. Call me. It wasn't real. Ethan didn't exist, just a contact I'd created a mirror for Miles's behavior. Predictably, he saw it. I watched from the hallway as his face twisted confusion, then anger, then disbelief. He grabbed my phone, scrolling. Who the hell is Ethan? I walked in calmly, holding a glass of water. A friend. You know, emotional support. We talk late sometimes. That's not funny, Rosie. Why not? It's mature. Isn't that what you said? He stared at me, chest heaving. You're insane. I'm patient, I said. Big difference. He threw the phone on the couch. You're trying to make me jealous. Am I succeeding? Stop playing games, he shouted. I smiled faintly. You first. For a long moment, the only sound was the hum of the fridge. Then he muttered, This isn't you. You're right, I said. This is what you made me, someone who has to prove how double your standards are. His eyes flickered, realizing it too late. The next day, he tried to fix things the way he always did, through performance. An Instagram story. A photo of the sky with the caption, Growth is painful but necessary. Learning who's real. Alina reposted it with a white heart emoji. That was the moment I stopped caring about who saw what. Because if they wanted a show, I'd give them an encore. I opened my anonymous account again. Posted 2 screenshots side by side. Miles telling Alina, you'll always have a piece of my heart. Miles telling me, you're my only one. Caption. When 2 people both think they're the main character, one of them's wrong. No tags, no names, but everyone knew. The comment section flooded, half gossip, half outrage. People love to play detective when they smell drama. That evening, Alina called me. Her voice was trembling, but still laced with that fake superiority. Rosie, what are you doing? You're ruining his life. I stayed quiet. You don't understand, she continued. Miles is just confused. He's always been emotional. You have to stop. I laughed softly. You're worried about him now. He's not a bad person. No, I said. He's just a selfish one. And you're his favorite audience. Rosie, I cut her off. Tell me something, Alina. When you texted him about missing the way he used to hold you, was that before or after you commented on my birthday post? She went silent. Right, I said. Thought so. Then I hung up. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt clean. As if months of emotional grime had finally been washed off. Miles texted me a few hours later. You win. I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. It was never a game. You just didn't know the rules. The next morning, I woke to over 100 new followers and a DM request from someone I didn't know. That post about emotional manipulation, powerful. Thank you. I smiled for the first time in weeks, because even if it started as revenge, it was turning into something else, a warning. A mirror for every woman told she was insecure for noticing disrespect. And maybe, just maybe, a way to finally reclaim my voice. As I closed my laptop, the sunlight hit my desk warm and soft, like the world was giving me permission to start over. But I knew this wasn't over yet, because the louder truth gets, the harder liars fight to stay heard. And something told me Miles and Alina weren't done making noise. It began the way all scandals do, quietly then, all at once. By Monday, everyone knew. The screenshots had spread like perfume in a crowded room, invisible, undeniable, everywhere. Even people outside our circle were whispering about the emotionally mature couple that imploded. I didn't post again. I didn't need to. The internet does what it always does, takes a spark and builds a bonfire. Alina went first. She uploaded a carefully lit video, soft makeup, trembling voice. This is really hard for me to talk about, but I need to set the record straight. Classic crisis PR tone. She blamed edited screenshots, said she was being cyberbullied by jealous people, and called it a misunderstanding between friends. Then she hit the buzzwords female solidarity, forgiveness, empathy. But the comments didn't buy it. Girl, not the victim, edit. Weren't you the one texting him at 2 a.m.? Accountability is also empowerment. Her own friends turned on her women who'd once applauded her for being emotionally evolved. Now they were posting memes of her quotes, pairing them with clown emojis. I should have felt vindicated, but I didn't. Watching her unravel felt anticlimactic, like seeing a play you already knew the ending to. Miles, on the other hand, reacted exactly as expected. He posted a long paragraph on his story. We all make mistakes. I was trying to keep peace between two people who misunderstood my intentions. I never cheated, never lied. I just cared too much. Cared too much. The kind of line men use when they're caught but not sorry. He even added, "Please stop attacking Alina. She doesn't deserve this." It might have sounded noble if not for the timestamp showing he posted it right after liking 3 bikini pictures from another girl. The comments were merciless. Sir, read the room. Apologies shouldn't come with self-promotion. Maybe log off and touch accountability. I stayed silent through all of it. But silence, I realized, has power when people expect noise. Friends started messaging me privately. Some offered apologies. Some sent gossip, disguised as sympathy. And a few, the real ones, just said, "You good." To those I only replied, "Better than before." Because I was. Lighter, clearer, unapologetically done. Then one afternoon as I was leaving work, I saw her. Alina standing by my car, sunglasses off, eyes red. She looked smaller, fragile, like someone who'd been living in comment sections instead of daylight. "Rosie," she called softly. I stopped, keys in hand. "What do you want?" She swallowed hard. "I came to apologize." Her voice trembled, but her posture still held that faint arrogance of someone who's sorry for the consequences, not the act. "I never meant for it to go this far," she said. "I thought he was over me. I thought that you could have both," I finished for her. Tears filled her eyes. "I didn't mean to hurt you." "Maybe not," I said, "but you enjoyed the attention. Every message, every time you saw me squirm, it made you feel powerful." She looked away. "Do you know what's funny?" I continued. "You and I aren't that different. We both mistook validation for love. The difference is, I outgrew it." Her voice cracked. "Everyone hates me now." "Reputation isn't punishment," I said quietly. "It's just your reflection, finally showing up in public." She covered her face, crying. I didn't move to comfort her. Empathy, I'd learned, should be given, not wasted. That night, I scrolled through social media one last time. Alina's apology video had been deleted. Miles's page was deactivated. Mutual friends were suddenly taking breaks for mental health. I closed the app, deleted it. For the first time in months, the silence didn't feel empty, it felt earned. A week later, Maya sent me a screenshot, Alina's latest attempt at redemption. Sometimes people lose you when they push too far. I'm focusing on healing. I laughed not out of cruelty, but recognition. Because that line, that performative self-awareness, used to be mine. Now it just sounded hollow. That weekend, I packed up Miles's leftover things. A sweater, a book I'd never finished because he'd said it was too depressing. His toothbrush still in the cup, untouched since the night everything fell apart. I threw it all in a box, sealed it with tape, and left it outside my door with a note. "Please pick up your things. I'm done hosting ghosts." He came by quietly. Didn't knock. I watched from the window as he hesitated, then took the box. When he drove away, I felt nothing, not anger, not sadness, just space. That night I opened my journal. The pages still smelled faintly of the lavender candle he'd once mocked for being too girly. I wrote one sentence. "Some people break your trust to remind you how strong your boundaries are." And I meant it. By the time I blew out the candle, I knew this chapter was over. But something in the quiet, whispered endings are just disguised beginnings. Because after all the noise, the chaos, the exposure, peace had finally started to sound like me. 2 weeks passed. Not a text, not a call, not even a passive-aggressive story. For someone who once needed constant attention, Miles had gone silent. It was almost unsettling until I realized silence for him wasn't peace, it was plotting. He showed up again on a Thursday evening. I was coming home from work, a grocery bag in one hand and a soft sense of calm in the other. The streetlight hit him first, standing by my building gate, hands in pockets, eyes tired. "Rosie." I didn't flinch. "You shouldn't be here. I just want to talk." "About what?" He exhaled. "About us." "There is no us." He looked down. I deserve that. I unlocked the gate and walked past him, expecting him to follow, and of course he did. Inside, he hovered near the kitchen island like a ghost who hadn't yet accepted death. "You won," he said quietly. I turned to face him. This wasn't a contest. "You got your revenge." Revenge. I shook my head. "No, Miles. I got my clarity." He leaned forward. "You made me look like a monster." "You did that yourself." He slammed his palm on the counter. "You don't understand what it's like to be humiliated by everyone you know." I met his eyes. "Actually, I do. You taught me." His anger deflated as fast as it came. For a moment, he looked human again, small, regretful, unraveling. "I miss you," he said finally. I made a mistake. Mistake implies accident, I said softly. You had choices. You just picked the ones that hurt me. He ran his hand through his hair. I thought keeping peace with everyone meant doing the right thing. No, I said. It meant avoiding being the bad guy. You wanted approval from all sides, and you lost the one person who only wanted honesty. He swallowed hard. So that's it. That's it. He lingered there, searching my face for softness. I gave him none. When he finally left, the door clicked shut like punctuation, the end of a sentence too long overdue. Later that night, Maya called. Did you see it? She asked, half whispering, half grinning. See what? Miles. He's on her live. My heart sank. Who's? Alina's. She's crying on camera again, and he's in the comments defending her. Says you both misunderstood his intentions. I laughed, not bitterly, just tiredly. Of course he is, I said. They deserve each other. By morning, screenshots of that live were everywhere. Alina sobbing about how she'd been betrayed by both sides. Miles typing, "You'll always matter to me." Someone screen recorded it and added dramatic piano music. The internet crowned them the toxic soulmates. And just like that, the empathy they'd begged for turned into spectacle. Their private implosion was now a public morality play. That weekend, Maya and I met for brunch. She looked at me carefully. You okay? I smiled. Actually, yeah. Not even a little tempted to clap back. No, the story's telling itself now. I don't need to narrate anymore. She grinned. Proud of you. I sipped my coffee. I'm proud of me too. Back home, the quiet felt different. Not the heavy kind that comes after a fight, but the warm kind that feels like closure breathing beside you. I lit that same lavender candle, opened my window. For the first time in months, I didn't check my phone. Didn't think about who might be talking about me. Instead, I thought about the next version of myself, the one who wouldn't confuse intensity with intimacy or guilt with love. A week later, I heard through mutuals that Miles and Alina had turned on each other. She accused him of using her for attention. He leaked screenshots showing she'd begged him to help her rebuild her image. Their fallout was messy, louder, uglier, and poetic in a way I didn't have to orchestrate. I didn't comment, didn't repost, but I did smile quietly at the symmetry of it all. In my journal that night, I wrote, "When two liars try to tell the same story, truth eventually writes the ending." Then I closed the book, blew out the candle, and whispered to the darkness, "I'm done." And for the first time, it wasn't defiance, it was peace. The next morning, sunlight hit my face soft and unfiltered. I made coffee, fed my cat, and sat by the window, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time, stillness. Because sometimes healing isn't fireworks or grand gestures. Sometimes it's just the absence of chaos. And in that stillness, I realized something simple and profound. I didn't need to prove anything anymore. The truth had done it for me. 3 months later, I woke to birds instead of notifications. That alone felt revolutionary. The world had moved on, new gossip, new scandals, new people to dissect online. Miles and Alina had faded from the feed like bad dreams after sunrise. Their last posts were vague apologies drowned in hashtags about growth and healing. I didn't comment. I didn't even look twice. Because I had finally learned not everything broken deserves your attention, especially when you're the one who escaped it. My life had become quiet in the best way. Work, walks, late-night tea instead of endless arguments. One evening, I joined a local hiking group. That's where I met Ethan, calm voice, steady eyes. The kind of man who listens more than he talks. He asked about my past only once, and when I said it's complicated, he nodded, like that was enough. No curiosity to pry, no urge to fix, just quiet respect. We started meeting every Sunday for hikes and coffee. It wasn't fireworks, it was grounding. And after months of chaos, grounding felt better than magic. Sometimes I'd catch myself flinching when my phone buzzed, an old reflex that hadn't fully died. One night, Ethan noticed. "Everything okay?" "Yeah," I said. "Just muscle memory." He smiled. "You don't owe anyone your peace anymore, Rosie." The way he said my name, steady, gentle, made me realize he was right. Peace isn't something people give you. It's something you protect. Then one random afternoon, while scrolling Pinterest for recipes, I saw her. Alina. A new profile. Different handle, same face. She was promoting emotional wellness content. Now reels about self-love. Affirmations about letting go of toxic people. The irony was almost cinematic. I clicked one of her posts out of curiosity. Sometimes people lose you when they push too far, the caption read. If they cared, they'd have stayed. Hundreds of comments calling her inspirational. None of them knew the story behind those polished words. For a second, I felt the familiar sting, the injustice of it, but then just as quickly it passed. Because I understood something I didn't before. People rewrite their stories however they need to survive them. Even villains think they're victims in their own versions. So I let her have it, the narrative, the filters, the illusion. I'd already chosen reality. Weeks later, I ran into Miles at the supermarket. He looked different, thinner, quieter. His confidence dimmed into politeness. He hesitated when he saw me. "Hey." I nodded. "Hey." Long pause. Then he said softly, "You look happy." "I am." He smiled small, almost proud. "Good. You deserve that." For the first time, I believed him. We didn't rehash the past. We didn't owe it words anymore. We just stood there, two people who'd burned down a house and finally stopped choking on the smoke. He left first. I didn't look back. That night, I walked home under a violet sky and realized something quiet but powerful. Healing doesn't trend. It doesn't come with applause or a viral quote. It's the day you stop stalking your own scars. I wrote one final entry in my journal that night. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors with locks. And healing is when you finally learn who gets the key. Then I closed the notebook, placed it on my windowsill, and smiled. No hashtags, no explanations.